each
Yes.
other's streaming. Okay.
Yes. Hello, everyone,
Perfect.
and welcome to SA Wine Lockdown Day 14. I'm losing count of the days. Anyway, broadcasting from my kitchen this evening because I'm going to be making pizza again because I've got leftovers. It's quite funny. Today I worked really hard and I feel like I need a reward. And it's not just pizza, but it's awarded wine. See what I did there? Because today's topic is all about awarded wine. And I have three very special guests joining me, and it is Jared, who's representing Woodfall Wines, who's also an amazing travel writer, and we've got Erica Obermeyer Wines, and she's a lady in her own right. She's going to explain to us all the amazing awards that she's won in winemaking, and then we also have a Mike from Journey's End. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And to everyone that's watching, thank you for tuning in. Yes, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions for these three amazing people, then please do ask. We are talking all about awarded wines. So ask your questions anytime now in the comments below, and we will be happy to answer them for you. So Jared, tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and what did you do today? Were you bored? Were you busy?
I wish I could say I was bored. What I've actually done, Leanne, is set myself these wonderful little to-do lists that are color-coded with what's urgent, what's not, and so. And sometimes the tasks are as minimal, as small as going outside, cleaning the pool. So yeah, I've been quite busy. I'm a wine and travel writer based in Cape Town, and I have the privilege of traveling around the country and visiting all kinds of different and exciting wine estates. And have bumped into you in a couple of those visits also.
Yeah, it's a tough life, hey, Jared.
It can be difficult at times.
No, but yeah, jokingly, yeah, tough life because we get to visit all these amazing farms, but it is actually quite tough. So you try to enjoy it, but also work, the work side of it. So
yeah.
Yes, and often crazy hours like now. It's 6 o'clock. I see it's very dark there in Joburg where you are at the moment. We still light. There's still sun here, this side of the world.
Pitch dark outside.
Okay. And Erica, welcome. What did you do today? Are you busy with harvesting, or is that done now?
We're done with harvest. We pushed through on that very last day before lockdown because we were very, very worried that we would not be able to go to the cellar. So I luckily pressed everything just in time. But I was at the cellar this morning to check on the barrels and the babies. They're all happily fermenting still with the mallow. Yeah, so we've been busy. But
where's your cellar, Erica?
I don't have my own cellar, so we're using rented facilities in Stellenbosch. So this year I'm all in Stellenbosch. So we sent it in nice environments to make wine.
Awesome. And Erica, you have had quite an interesting wine career, and I've heard so many awards and such many good things said about you. You can maybe explain to us a little bit about your wine career.
Thank you. Yeah, I always wanted to study medicine when I was little, and I grew up on a farm in Sutherland in the Karoo, and not really history with wine other than having a little bit of not the most fancy and fine wine at Christmases and New Year's. And then I came to Stellenbosch, and I was very lucky to study, and then pretty much straight from there went on to become basically an all-rounder, jack of all trades at Kleine Zalse Wines. And then I went from there to Grainbeck for nearly 14 years, and then started my business when Grainbeck decided to focus on bubbly only. So it's been a real amazing career of being at the right place, and everything prepared me and set me up to start my own business 4 years ago.
Yeah, and incredible, hey, to have this dream of becoming a doctor, and then you are actually kind of like a doctor for wine now, because it's also very technical and highly scientific, but it's also a little bit creative. So I guess a nice balance for you too.
Yeah, I think I would have been also very happy to be a doctor, but I think it's so amazing to also still be connected to that science part of winemaking. But there's this human connection and the celebration of wine that puts you directly with your customer, and that link of taking the product forward. And I always tell people I'm still prescribing medicine. It's just those ones that feel a lot better sooner.
I love that. We can call you Wine Dr. Erica from now on. Oh, cheers to that.
Yes.
Ooh,
Cheers
I've got a
to
little
that.
glass this evening, but I'll reveal my wine. And speaking of doctors, Mike here is drinking a wine called the Cape Doctor. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what you did today, because you're obviously there at the cellar in the tasting room.
Yeah, correct. I'm actually still pressing currently, so if I have to run quickly down into the cellar, please excuse me. But yeah, we've been very lucky this year in that Rollo, the boss of the farm, has basically allowed some of my staff members to stay at his main house, or stay at the manor house on the farm. So we all stationed basically on the farm. We completely isolated and from everyone else through the coronavirus outbreak, which has been quite an interesting sort of time, I'd say, in especially for this vintage. I mean, yeah, it's quite difficult to actually going through a harvest where you're very short-staffed at times, and but yeah, I mean, the wines are coming out beautifully this year. We are still quite busy at the moment, though. I think I've got still probably about 8 tanks or so to press. So yeah,
Wow.
We're still busy at the moment.
So for those of you that are sitting at home, twiddling your thumbs, bored, stiff during lockdown, know that there are people out there that are super busy making wine for you to drink. So awesome. Thanks, Mike.
It's a pleasure.
We've got a lot of people. Hey?
It's great staying on the farm as well, because you've got a lot of sort of room to move around. You can walk your dogs, and you're still in a sort of isolated situation, which is absolutely amazing. I couldn't think of a better lockdown.
Your backyard is literally a vineyard.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to, a lot of people are saying hi. So thank you very much for watching and for saying hi. So if you have any questions about awarded wines, then please do ask away. I'm going to reveal what I have found today, which is a very special wine, which I'm going to enjoy over the Easter weekend. And it was quite hard for me to open this wine because I wanted to keep it for a special occasion. And I could never find the special occasion. And then today I was like, you know what, just open it, just enjoy it. So it's a 2017 vintage, and it's from Nederburg. And it's called the Noble Late Harvest. And it is a highly awarded wine because, if you can see that, and it's got a lot of awards, one being Tim Akin, and it's a 93-point Tim Akin. And apparently it's quite hard to get anything above 90 with Tim Akin. So very impressive, 93 points. It's also got a gold Veritas sticker, and then also a platinum medal for Michelangelo, which are international wine awards, and then the IWSC, which is also a gold award sticker. So quite a lot of awards, 2017 vintage. I've just opened it and I've been sipping it, and it's absolutely lovely. It smelled like pears. Still smells a bit like pears. A little bit of, now it's smelling a little bit different now. Look, I'm actually smelling a little bit of mango, but maybe that's a bit weird. But yeah, that's just me. So I'm really enjoying this wine this evening, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it over the weekend. Jared, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm going to show you 2 wines that I'm drinking. The first is Barrel 41. It might be a bit dark to see it through there, which is from Windfall Wine, one of my favorite new discoveries in South Africa. But in fact, what I really wish I was drinking, and I'm going to show you a picture on my phone, I don't know if that's going to come out, it's the Mendola, which is their MCC. I don't know if you've had it, Leanne. Yes,
it's a bit of a hidden gem.
Hidden gem, and I would be drinking it this evening, but I drank it on day 1, and then as a good South African citizen, I recycled my bottle, so I can't even show it to you. But that's one of my favorite new award-winning wines. It got 90 from Tim Akin, and I know we'll talk about some of the awards a little bit later, but the fact that someone like him would discover a little farm out in the middle of nowhere of Robertson and give it an award is very exciting. But I know a lot of people enjoy their wines because of the taste, but for me, I really enjoy Mendola because of the story. So if you let me humor you for 20 seconds, I'll tell you, if you've ever driven on the highway between Durban and Johannesburg, Just when you get to, now Mike is from Durban, so he'll know this. When you travel from Durban, you hit Maritzburg, and then you go through Hilton, and the road is incredibly steep there. So when that road was built in the 1920s, the South African government employed Italian engineers to come and build the road. And the main engineer who came out, he loved South Africa so much, he wanted his wife to come. So he essentially built a replica of his mansion, his Italian mansion. He built a replica on the hill, and it's still there to this day in Hilton.
Wow.
And so that his wife would come. So she came along to South Africa, and she was like, no, thank you. I'm heading back home. And unfortunately, she left. But the house remains today. And today, it's actually custodians of this farm of the house is Windfall Wines. And so in order to commemorate and pay homage to the poor Italian engineer who built a replica of his house, they called it Mendola after his house in Italy. So that's why I'm drinking. That's why I would be drinking Mendola.
Nice story. I love wines that have stories behind them, you know?
Absolutely.
Erica, what are you drinking?
Yes. I am drinking 2016. I don't know if you can see the bottle there. It's a Syrah Grenache Cinsault blend, which was something very new when I started my brand. I wanted to do something that was very different from what I did with Brainbeck. I obviously worked with the vineyards for a long time, and I was very, very spoiled in the sense of finding these very gem and amazing sites in the Western Cape. So I continued my brand on the special terroir that I want to showcase. So I don't just make wine from one area. I go out and I source the very special vineyards across the winelands. So I wanted to specifically showcase Stellenbosch Syrah in a different way. At that stage, there was a lot of the Syrahs still made in the very Australian, very extracted style. And I went out and I wanted to make a wine that showed perfume and that floralness of Syrah. So the vineyards are from Stellenbosch, but then I wanted to enhance that even more. And I decided to add a little bit of Grenache and Cinsault, which is to me like makeup in the cellar. It just enhances and showcases everything so much more. So it's like a magnifying glass that you put on top of the wine. So yeah, it's very different from your normal 10 years ago Shiraz style. So it's pretty much a Northern Rhone style where it's almost like walking into a field of perfume and seeing the butterflies go around. So it's very, very successful in the market. And I think also because people are drinking wines that's not so heavily extracted these days, where the oak is not too dominant. So it's very gentle, very feminine style of wine. And it's a wine that won us that prestigious award for Platter. My maiden entry into Platter won us 2 5-star wines out of the 3. The third one missed out 1 point only. So yeah, this one's really special to me. I think because you make wine as an extension of your personality, and to put your own name on a bottle is even more so. And to launch your own brand with your very first maiden vintage to one, something like that is just amazing and very special. So we're celebrating tonight with this wine.
Lovely. Cheers. And thanks for that. And congratulations on your amazing achievements. That's really incredible. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Mike, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Cape Doctor, which is, I don't know if you can see it over there, but yeah, this is obviously named after the very strong southeasterly wind that everyone loves to hate in the Western Cape. It does hugely beneficial things for us in the vineyard. We're about 9 kilometers away from the coastline, so we get a very strong southeasterly wind that comes off False Bay and moves through our vineyards, which actually creates a big sort of a drastic difference between the day and night temperature over our vineyards. So we get very, very cold nights, about 4 degrees or so on average cooler than the middle of Stellenbosch. And that allows us to almost elongate our ripening period. So we pick quite late at Journey's End. We call it the Cape Doctor because it also blows a lot of moisture and humidity out of our vineyards, which means that we we don't have to spray for any rots or molds or anything like that. So our vineyards are almost completely organic. There are a couple of vineyards that we do have to spray, but yeah, the Cape Doctor comes right off the top of our farm. It's about 200 meters above sea level, and as I mentioned, about 9 kilometers away from the coast. And this is a full 5-varietal Bordeaux blend. So predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon driven, but it's got quite a high component of Merlot as well as Petit Verdot, and then smaller fractions of Cabernet Franc and Malbec. And this wine is just quite recently, I think last week, actually won it got a 94 point for the Decanter World Wine Awards, and then also was voted top 45 Bordeaux blends in the world. So we're really, really proud of it. And it's a beautiful wine. It is a little bit more on the extraction side. So Erica was saying that she likes that more sort of floral, very aromatic, sort of fruity style wine. This is slightly on the other side of the spectrum. We do subject it to quite significant amounts of new oak, about 60% new oak used in the entirety of the blend. But it's really sort of fleshy. There's a lot of fruit characters that come through in the wine, and it's still showing really nice sort of youthfulness after 5 years of actually being picked. But not your typical Bordeaux. We do also have slightly sort of spicy, peppery notes that come through on the wine. And it is very unique to the Skartenberg region, the region that we're in Somerset West.
That's it. And I absolutely love the names of all your wines because they do pay homage to the area that you are in. You know, you've got the Cape Doctor, which obviously is about the wind. The other night I was drinking the Pastor's Blend, which is about the pastor that is on your farm too. So a lot of very cool, quirky names. So I believe there's also one called the Weather Station, which is a Sauvignon Blanc. So very, very cool names for their wines. And they've got a nice entry-level wine, like their value range. And then they've got the more premium range. Got quite a wide range. So if you guys are looking out for some special wines, you've got a lot of options here. You've got Windfall Wines, Erica Obermeyer, and Mike Journey's End Wines. And all these wines have been awarded, so you should totally check them out. So I've got some nice comments here coming through. And Mira, thank you, Mira, for your comment. She's saying, great wine farms tonight. And thanks for showcasing the beautiful gems of the SA wine industry. And you guys really are gems. So thank you very much for joining. And I have a quick question around, I'm going to start with you, Jared. Oh, no, maybe I should start with Mike. So, Mike, there are many different types of awards in South Africa, wine awards. What are those awards? Can you maybe perhaps name them, and which ones should we be looking out for in South Africa?
Every award or scheme or program has their own sort of benefits. I'd say every award system is basically benefiting the South African wine industry. So it's a great thing to actually enter all of these award systems. Obviously, it does come at a little bit of a cost to the winery. With Journey's End, we make slightly more of a European style of wine. Our wines are a little bit more, they're not as concentrated or extracted, I'd say, as some of the stuff you do find in Stellenbosch. So what we find at Journey's End is that we generally do better in international, with international judging panels. So we do really well in Michelangelo and Decanter World Wine Awards. Veritas, I think, been an absolute godsend for South Africa because it is judged by a South African judging panel. I think the style of wines they're looking generally for Veritas are slightly more youthful wines and more sort of expression aromatically, a little bit more concentration, in my opinion. And then with Michelangelo, it's obviously with a completely international judging panel. Obviously, there are a couple of South Africans who also judge on the panel, but we generally do a little bit better with the Michelangelo Wine Awards. Another thing that's you must also take into consideration when entering a wine award is when to actually enter your wine. And that's completely sort of dictated by the way you actually make the wine. So if you're going to be entering a 2006 Cabernet Sauvignon, for instance, into a wine award now, you must have made that Cabernet Sauvignon really extractively so that it's allowed to sort of age and settle and settle out over a long period of time. So I think timing is a really, really important thing to take into account when entering an award of any nature. But there are different things that different panels look for. And yeah, it's not something you learn sort of overnight. It's something that you learn over a couple of years as to when you should actually send this wine into that specific wine award system.
Thanks for that, Mike. And I think that's quite interesting. I actually didn't know, well, I don't really know a lot about the award detail, but I know that Veritas is an international kind of award, but you said it's been tasted by a South African panel.
Yeah, it's a South African judging panel.
That's great. Yeah, because they're obviously used to the style of wine and can judge it more fairly, I guess.
100%. And you also have, there's a lot of winemakers on that judging panel. So you have people who are very sort of acclimatized to the South African way of making wine and what we are stylistically trying to do at the moment. And South African wine has come it's gone way ahead over the last couple of years or 6 or 7 years. The whole styles are changing, and yeah, everything's quite dynamic and energetic at the moment, which is really exciting for the South African wine industry. And that's why I think Veritas is a very important award to actually, an important competition to enter yourself into, because you get an interpretation basically of what South African winemakers and South African wine tasters generally prefer, and they know our climate, and they know our terroir and our soil types, and they know our style of wines as well. But they are the competitions are completely unique and completely different from one another. So you have to be quite careful as to when I think you enter your wines into these award systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of my favorite international awards would definitely be Michelangelo and Veritas and Tim Atkin. Those are the three that I mainly look for. And then when it comes to local awards, I do look at Platters. And then I also like to look at the awards like the top 10 Chenin and the top 10 Shiraz. That's quite a nice, fun one to kind of, if you see that sticker, you can be rest assured that it's a really good Chenin or a really good Shiraz. And that's what helps me decide, okay, it's been judged by the right people and I'm happy to try it. So I know a lot of you are commenting saying, quite controversial with how different kind of awarding bodies judge wine, but that's what makes it interesting, I guess. And what I would suggest is pick your favorite kind of sticker and explore others too. Why not? Jared, how does one go about finding awarded wines? Because some wineries put stickers on their bottle and some don't. So how do you actually know which wines are awarded or not?
It's a good question, Leanne. I suppose one of the things that I do is that I subscribe to several South African wine websites, for example, Wine Mag, some of the local ones, but also international ones, Decanter, and I love it. They usually are quite quick to give the news on when the awards come out, and so I follow a lot of those emails and kind of see what's being awarded. The second thing is by virtue of the stickers. Sometimes it's quite interesting just to go and sit in a wine shop and have a look at the different stickers and see what's out there. But I think, as you say, we all have our own preferences. And I see there David Wibberby, and I think it's echoed by Johan Olivier, who's saying there's contention around some of the awards. The beauty is that there's so many of them that obviously lends itself to a challenge. So we need to find our own. And I mean, for me, the Platters, I mean, I rely on Platters. And I think for me, it's got a bit of a legacy following, because in our house growing up, there were generally 3 books on the dining room table. It was the Newman's Bird Book, it was the Bible, and it was the Platters. And so I grew up with this reverence for Platters. And so despite some of the challenges that any of the awards have gone through, nothing beats sitting down with this book. And I sometimes will sit for hours paging through it. I think it's one of the most comprehensive of them. So I think it's a case of following, signing up for newsletters, but then finding who your favorites are, get the hard copy, get the list, print it out, and do what I do and actually tick off each of them as we go along.
Yeah, that's really fun. And it's such a useful book. I've also got that book and I've been collecting them over the years too. And I just learned, I actually learned last year that they've actually got an app. Platters has an app and you can actually buy a digital version of Platters. So there's no excuse. If you don't know what awarded wines to try, then, Platters is a good place to start. Subscribe for the yearly contract and you can use it on your phone like an app. It's very cool, especially now during lockdown. What did you want to say, Jared?
Sorry, I said, and of course, good old Vivino is a brilliant app for being able to look up wines and to see what some of the relative scorings are.
Oh yes, Vivino too. I'm sure a lot of people use Vivino as well. Erica,
yes.
So we've heard that you've won quite a lot of awards recently, and we've got some nice questions here from Vanna. Again, hi Vanna again. And he's asking, when did you get awarded first? Was it under the Graham Beck or under your own label?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky to start my career with very good sellers, sellers that were focused on winning medals because of the brand. I think before I continue, I think it's very important to understand why you enter competitions, because just for the mere fact to enter wouldn't make sense. I think it's really important to understand your customer, to know your target market, and then to try and see which competition is going to support your brand the best way. So I was very lucky to work with Graham Beck, and we've always proud ourselves at Graham Beck that we work with some of the best vineyards, and it was a phenomenal career where I was often rewarded. I think we won, I've got so many awards in my storage, which is all dating back to Graham Beck, to my career there. So I was very lucky. But it's also, as I said in the beginning, those awards kind of set me up to do my own business. And it's that saying that says a success is not an overnight story. It's a 15-year by trial and error and hard work that gives you the rewards.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And Johan's also asking here, Stellenbosch is quite varied in terroir. And Erica, which is the ward or pocket in Stellenbosch that speaks to your favorite interpretation of Syrah?
I think the last couple of years we've seen quite a lot of Syrahs coming from Stellenbosch. That's absolutely mind-blowing in terms of if you put them in a blind tasting, you'd often take them as a Rhone example, and specifically because the grape is so adjustable to what you do in the cellar. It's not like a Cabernet Sauvignon that's so strong in terms of its characteristics. I love the lower Helderberg, and that whole area where you get a lot of the wind influence that just brings that freshness to the wines. We pick a lot earlier than what we used to do 10 years ago. So the wines will always be like around 13.5% to 14%, and that just brings forward so much more freshness and fruitiness and that aromatic profile that just, I think Syrah is so beautiful to showcase. So I quite like the Firgrove area, the foot of the Helderberg, because it sits in we chatted about the Cape Doctor. There's so much wind there, and it gives us a long ripening period, so we're able to ripen the fruit fully. So the tannins are soft. You don't have any issues with harsh and unripe tannins, but the fruit is so beautifully ripened in a fresh manner, and the acidities are fresh, so the wines can just age forever. And I quite like that expression of the aromatics in the Firgrove area.
Thanks for that. And we've got some nice comments here coming from David, and he's saying, Erica, you freaking legend. So thanks for that, David. And he's also asking, he wants to know if you're going to extend your range.
Yeah, we have currently 5 wines in the range. I would probably add 2 every year, because I think it's just, as a winemaker, to express yourself, and especially when you do it under your own labels, is the most amazing blessing that you can have. But yeah, currently we have 5. We're launching a single varietal Syrah soon. And then, yeah, I've got some Sauvignon Blanc. I've always loved the Sauvignon Blanc grape. I'm trying to show people that they need to drink their Sauvignons when they're at least 3 years old, when the acidities are nicely integrated, when you don't have this harsh issues where people just always fight about Sauvignon not being food friendly because it's got too much acidity. And it's just amazing when you work with a really cool climate Sauvignon and it's made well, then they can age for 10 years. So we've got 2 Sauvignon Blancs. The one's called Meticulous because of my nature, and the nature of the grape is such that you need to tend to every little last detail to bring that wine really to its true potential. And then we have Flabbergast, which is a Cinza. And it's just so special, this wine, because I think Cinza is so suited for our South African terroir and also our climate. So you can drink it around the year. It's a red wine that drinks beautiful in summer. And then in winter, you just don't chill it that much. And then we have our free Erica O, which is all varietal wines that showcases specific areas. So Sauvignon Blanc, and then the wine we're having tonight, and then my very special Cabernet Sauvignon, which is from also the Lower Helderberg, and really special one. I love Cabernet. If there's one varietal I need to choose to only work with, it's Cabernet, probably because it challenges you all the time. But when you do get it right, it's just nothing more rewarding than having an amazing, well-matured, solid Cabernet Sauvignon. So yeah, so all different areas from Voorpaardenburg up to Wellington for the Grenaches, all the way to Groene Kloof in Darling for our Sauvignon Blancs, and then pretty much around Stellenbosch on the red is the focus currently.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that name of the Cinsault, Flabbergast. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. It's quite popular, and people are flabbergasted. That's how we got to the name. Neil is really good with that. We looked at people's expressions and how they reacted when we showed them, and the wines it was quite easy to put just my Erica O labels together, because it was just very classical and timeless, and it's pretty much something that I strive for in my wine style, is to make very pure and focused and not to interfere too much with the grape. I just want to showcase the terroir, so it's minimal intervention in the cellar. So it was very easy to get to those 3 names. And then we had these 2 wines in the range that we wanted to showcase a little bit more of the upfront fruit. They all still very good to put down and lay down for a couple of years, but they're certainly focusing on the more fruit forward style, and they were unlabeled when we showed them to people the first couple of months. And the color of the Cinza, which is just this bright ruby, almost pomegranate juice kind of flavors bouncing out of the glass. It's such an amazing varietal because it's got pretty much everything you can want in a wine. It's got fruit, it's got spices, it's got mild tannins, and people were actually, wow, we love it. And we just then thought, well, everyone's flabbergasted by this, so let's just put Flabbergast on the label. And it's quite popular. People love it.
Yeah, and Van is saying he's actually drinking it now, and he's saying it's absolutely divine.
Yes, Van, enjoy.
And then where was the comment? Oh, here it is. And then Stephanie is saying to Mike, great, fantastic wines. You should be proud. So, everyone's really, really excited about the wines that we have on offer this evening and what we're all drinking. So that's really great. And I would like to ask, where would you buy your wines, the wines that you are drinking this evening? Would it just be online, or is there a retail outlet?
Are you talking to
me? We are in... Sorry. Yeah. You go, Jared.
No.
Go for it. Let's go start, Mike. Go for it.
So our wines are about 92% exported to the UK. Roger Gabb, who actually founded Journey's End Farm in 1995, originally owned a business called Western Wines, which at a time hold around a sort of 40% sharehold in all of South African wine exports to the UK. They eventually bought this farm to focus more on premium sort of wines that we actually produce off our own farm as opposed to buying in bulk. But we do still have quite a prominent foot in the UK market. So a lot, I'd say about 90% of our wines go over to the UK. In South Africa, you can buy from the winery itself. That's where you're going to get it for the best prices, obviously. But then we're in more sort of boutique wine shops. So yeah, in Caroline's Fine Wines, those type of shops inside Cape Town, as well as a couple of Checkers and Spars shops, but not as much as we also in a lot of restaurants as well in the Western Cape. Quite sort of fine dining restaurants as well.
Do you have an online shop, Mike?
If you order on the Journey's End website, then we deliver to your door anywhere in the Western Cape as well. So
there you go.
Yeah, so
and what's
that's
the website?
www.journeysend.co.za.
Oh,
Then you can just fill in an order form and very straightforward, yeah. You just sign an order form and we basically, obviously not during the coronavirus, but straight afterwards we'll be delivering back as well.
And Erica, where can someone get hold of your wines?
My brand is focusing a lot of our direct customer, obviously trying to, because it's amazing. People email somebody at Erica Wibbermeyer Wines and they always connect to me because there is pretty much just the three of us. So I almost answer 99% of all emails, and that's something that we're really proud to say, that we like that connection to the customer. And I've become friends with almost every single buddy that has bought wines. So we also have an online channel on our website, online shop, and then all the fine wine shops in and around Stellenbosch and Hermanus and Cape Town stock our wine. And we're very fortunate to already exported to 7 countries since starting the brand. So
nice.
A lot of in Europe. And then Johannesburg is also a good market for us. But yeah, very much of fine dining restaurants and fine wine shops at this stage.
So what is your website, Erica, that people can go have a look?
It's www.ericawibbermeyerwines.co.za.
Also,
and it also tells you the whole story and how I fell in love with my job many years ago. And yeah, we like to interact with people. A lot of emails actually and questions comes through the website. So go and have a look at it and tell me if you like it. If we need to put more info on there, I would like to connect with people.
Yeah, so go on over to the website and check it out and contact Erica directly. She reads 99% of her mails, so that's quite good. I can't say the same. But yeah, it would be quite nice to taste your wines too. And Jared, where would one find Windfall Wines? Do they have an online shop?
I'll tell you in a moment, but just going quickly back, Erica, to the naming convention around wines, I must tell you the other day I referred to Meticulous. It was in I either wrote it down or mentioned out loud, and I actually wrote it as Meticulous Blanc. And I remember thinking, that sounds right. And then after it's like, it is a Meticulous Blanc. I've never heard of this variety before until I realized the mistake I'd made. So I love it. Back to Windfall Wine. Windfall Wine, you can look out in some of the boutique stores. I know Wine Concepts has had it time to time, sometimes Tops, but the easiest is to go to the online shop, which is windfallwine.co.za. And there you can get hold of everything and have it delivered to your front door outside of lockdown.
Yes, we have to wait for lockdown, hey? Only a week and a bit left. So actually exactly a week.
Well,
only a week.
Well,
we hope.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually thriving at home. I don't mind being at home. I'm actually quite enjoying just being in my bubble. And I'm sure, Jared, you just hating it every moment. You just probably want to get out there, travel. Mike, you can't comment because you've got like a property the size of a whole neighborhood that you can run around on. So, Jared, what are you doing to keep busy this whole time?
Well, I'm only 99.8% extrovert, according to Myers-Briggs. So every hour I start to get edgy, and then I'll do a little bit of a live feed on Instagram. But to be honest, I've never videoed and spoken to my friends as often as I have over this period. So although we have social distancing is actually fallen away. So that's helping a lot.
I really like that. You know, we're socially distant, but we're not so socially distant thanks to video call. And I can't imagine what a lockdown would be before internet. I think it would be awful.
And yeah, this is the longest that you haven't gone, that you've gone without visiting a wine farm. So my you, if I could type in the comments, is what's farm number one going to be for you post lockdown? What if
post? No, it was really sad. I had to cancel all my wine farm visits. But I'm very grateful for the time at home because I get to catch up on my emails and just the stuff that I wanted to do at home, you know, like do a proper deep clean at home, try some recipes out. So I've actually really enjoyed the time at home. But I'm sure by the end of next week, I'll want to get out, you know. And I also keep in contact with my friends, and having these daily video chats with winemakers every evening is quite fun. So that also helps break up the day. Erica, what do you do to keep busy?
I've got a lot of work post-harvest because you tend to only do cellar work in that 3-month period. So my admin was in a horrendous state. Also connecting and do a lot of planning in terms of sales and to connect, because that to me was my biggest adjustment after I started my own business, is to be a jack of all trades, literally doing your VAT return, invoicing, and then the whole strategy around sales and balancing that with winemaking, where at Graham Beck I could only focus on winemaking and then these marketing trips. So I've got a lot. I actually look at this time as a blessing, because it just gives me the space where I can sit and be quiet and almost focus on the things that really is important. What I love is that everyone is finding something special. We all go back to our kitchens. We sit around tables and have, as Jared's, not literally physically being together, but we're all more connected in a certain sense, because life has forced us not to be so quick and just in the rush of the moment all the time. So I quite enjoy it. I think it will get to us in another 2-3 weeks time, not to just hug people and that emotional connection. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying it, and I think our Mother Earth is very happy for just having a little bit of escape from what our human race is doing to it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You know, the rivers are running cleaner, as they say. So yeah, there's some good out of this lockdown. We always like to see the good in things. Okay, so final comments now, because we are getting close to 7 o'clock already. Can you believe it? We started, it was light outside, the sun has just set. So Jared, welcome. We are now also nighttime. Jared's sitting in Joburg. And I would like us all to close off with, name which award is your favorite. So if it's a Platters or a Veritas or which is the sticker or the award that you look for, that you think is the most highly regarded for you, and why? Who would like to start? Mike?
Yeah, it's quite a difficult question. I would say decanters are a really big one for us, again, because it's an international wine award, as well as Michelangelo. We've also done very, very well over the last couple of years in the Precinct Chardonnay Awards. So that's quite special for me, because it was my first year that I joined Journey's End, was the first year that we entered the Precinct Chardonnay Awards, and we've won an award ever since. These just are really special wine awards for me. I don't think you can really dictate your preference of wine according to an award. I make wine for myself and make it so that I can enjoy it, basically. And if other people enjoy it, then it's just an added bonus, basically, at the end of the day. We at Journey's End also don't sticker any of our bottles when they go on the export market and they're sold at restaurants and things like that. The clientele generally don't like stickers on the bottle. They want a sort of clean branded bottle at the end of the day. So awards for me are, I mean, it's great receiving an award, and it really makes you feel good about what you're actually doing on the farm, but it's not the be all and end all at the end of the day. You make wines that you enjoy, and if you're happy with what you're producing, I think that's the idea of making wine. As Erica mentioned a little bit earlier, it's something you grow sort of passionate towards, and that should be your passion, not winning an award or anything like that. Again, it's an added bonus, but at the end of the day, it should be for you.
That's so true. Hey, wine can get so complicated, and there's all these many awards, and it can become quite overwhelming. But I love how you just say, you know what, it's you like it or you don't, and that's all actually that matters. So yeah, just bringing it down to basics. It can get quite complicated, but at the end of the day, it's as simple as that. Do you like it or not? And I love that. And David also says, what a superb answer, Mike. Well done. Who would like to go next? Jared.
Yeah, well, I suppose I've already mentioned Platter is a special place in my heart, because it was in fact my mother who inspired me first to start doing wine drinking, and it was like the Bible to her. So I think continuing in that family legacy, that's important. But then perhaps also I agree with Mike. I tend to look at decanter, and I'm always interested in what South African wines have snuck their way into those awards. And then those are always the wines that I sneak out and go, what wines that have I not tasted that have actually held their own across the world? Like I think the other day I sent you a picture from decanter saying, this wine from Beaumont, I haven't tasted this. And I think you said, oh, you've got one in your cellar. So I think those are the two that I generally look to.
Nice. And Erica, what is the main awards that you highly regard in your life?
I think when I started as a winemaker, Veritas was the number one to crack, because it is judged with probably 40 to 80% winemakers on the panel, and because it's a South African panel, it was when you cracked a double gold at Veritas, 3% of the entries got awarded that special medal. But as I matured in my career, I kind of agree with Jared that the Platter to me is everything, because it's a consumer guide, and it was never started to be a competition in itself. It's merely to guide people where to find very, very special wines and really good wines. So what I love about the Platter is that it's an international connection. I get thousands of emails through Platter, people reading about the brand, wanting to reach out, traveling to South Africa. Everybody loves South Africa, Europe. It connects us with tourists. So I think the Platter is really important for a brand, especially a small brand like myself, where you want that direct connection. But I think it's also internationally, there's these various competitions that will give you that tick, and you've succeeded. But as we all, I think, agree that we make wine for people to enjoy, because we're passionate about wine. But also for me, the number one award to put on my bottle would be somebody telling me that they love this wine, or they had a celebration and they had a wonderful time with friends sharing a bottle of my wine. That's always my number one. So we also don't put stickers on the bottles. We started out putting the Platter because we were so proud to just shout it from the rooftop. But also as a young brand and a new brand, it's very important to get the message out. But now we steer away from putting it on there, because we want people to hear the story from ourselves. We don't want the sticker to tell them, because people is very quick on information. When they see something, they kind of made up their minds. It's a good one or it's not. It's a gold or it's a silver. But if they don't know it, you actually get the opportunity to interact with people and tell them the story, because wine is in itself telling stories. So that's why we don't put any stickers on our bottles anymore. But I would agree, platter to me is the number one. It connects you to people, and it starts the conversation. So I love the platter. It is a wine Bible in South Africa.
Yes, I also highly regard platters, and it's just unfortunate that it's a big red sticker, but it's quite ugly looking, especially if you put it on a premium wine. I get a lot of comments from overseas people that follow me saying, well, what is that on the bottle? And I would say, no, it's a platter sticker. It's like really cool. And they're like, no, it's not cool. So yeah, a lot of wines are not putting the stickers on. And that is, to your sentiment, rather hear about the story. And that's why I like visiting wine farms, because you go there, you hear about the story. They tell you, oh, and by the way, this did win, 5-star platters or 95-point Tim Atkin or whatever it is. But you get to hear the story first. And that's what I really like about wine tasting, is you get to meet the people, you get to take in the atmosphere, the ambiance, and meet people. And that's what wine's all about. It's about being social. It's about learning about different varietals and different stories in South Africa. So that's the end of our session. Thank you very much for joining, the three of you. And to those that are watching, thank you very much for your questions. And we didn't get to answer all the questions, but do join again for the next live session, and maybe we can answer all your questions then. So Jared, Erica, Mike, thank you very much. I hope you have a good Easter weekend. Spend it with family and loved ones, or not, on your own in lockdown. But I hope you'll do a video call, maybe.
We will. The good thing is we don't have to share the Easter eggs. We have all the Easter eggs to ourselves. Yes. So that's only up.
Thank you all of it to yourself. So cheers. Thank you very much.
Love you. Bye.